Lights gone out, but have no fear. You're closer now, the stars appear.
Okay guys, so this video is part vlog, part question answer time. Let me get straight into them. Somebody asked me, do you advise to stretch before doing core work or core before stretching? I say core work always before stretching. What is cardio? Cardio is prolonged exercise over a period of time designed to exercise the heart. So running, swimming, elliptical, jump roping, those kind of things are cardio. Coming off from an injury and it's very difficult to hold your fingers, make sure you feel your connection with your shoulder blades and think about your fingers going off in the direction where they eventually come to a point where they end. Make sure a lot of different questions about how do I improve my Rbth. Number one, you need to make sure you have your splits. Number two, you need to be making sure you're doing backup exercises. And I recommend getting a doisser band or a kind of elastic that you can tie 3 times around your foot and do exercises where you're using your own body weight to strengthen your legs. Using resistance is really good for improving extensions. Someone asked me a very specific question about mental illness. Mental illness is still very taboo in the dance world. I know a lot of people who struggle with it, myself included, with that including eating disorders, depression, just self-doubt. Things can get serious, but I work with a mental health professional every week, and I think there are some of my friends who don't struggle because of it, but there isn't very much support for that kind of a thing in Russia, and it's very taboo to admit that out in the open. How long have I been doing ballet? That's kind of a funny question, but I've been doing it my whole life since I was 3 years old. What was going on with the Pointe situation? I finally was able to have my friend Alvin, who was staying with my family, get my pointe shoes from Gainermynden and bring them back to me. So that was really awesome. And somebody asked me what I did to make my pointe shoes black for Magic Flute, and I still have the same pointe shoes. They're Gainermynden, so I feel bad about throwing them away. I just gave a pair of pointe shoes and they spray painted them black, and so those are my shoes now that are connected with the costume, and they went to China with me and they will go again. Somebody asked me, were they strict with weight at Bolshoi Academy? Yes. One of the precursors to becoming into the Russian classes, there's a very strict weight tablet, and if you are overweight then you could be kicked out of that class. I took it the opposite way and I got very, very thin, and the director insisted on weighing me to make sure that I was part of that weight stricture. Although it is a very, very serious, it's the most extreme weight tablet I've ever seen in any school. I was supposed to be under 100 pounds for my height right now, which is very, very thin. Somebody asked me about the frame picture I have in my apartment. That was a picture that I picked up from a vintage photo gallery of Soviet photographs during the 60s and 70s here in Russia, and I really like that picture. I got it framed and put it on my wall. What roles do I have this season? I have debuted in Don Q, many different roles in Sleeping Beauty. I'm just about to have a debut as the Diamond Fairy. I've danced Golnari in Corsair. I'm going to dance Parisklav. I've danced Kitri. I've danced, I said already, Swan Lake and 3 Swans. Myrtle danced that. I have a growing repertoire of principal roles and of course first soloist roles, because that's sort of how our company works. I crave Giselle and Sleeping Beauty, but I don't know if I'll get those this year, and sadly, but I really want them really, really, really bad. Just because I think that it's important for me to be considered a true professional, true principal dancer is somebody who has Giselle, Sleeping Beauty, Swan Lake, and Don Q. Of course, I want Medora and Corsair and Juliet, and of course I dream about Juliet, but in order to even think about changing to another company, I do feel like I need to stay at Kremlin at least until I dance Giselle and Sleeping Beauty, because it's important. If I've started out sort of on the path of becoming a Russian prima ballerina, those are the roles that are considered definitely prima status. So the goal in the foreseeable future right now is to dance Giselle and Sleeping Beauty. So I have to be able to be given those roles by my company. So that's what's going on. And that's why I've been kind of depressed lately, because I understand there's way too many there's way too many soloists in my theater versus principal guys. So there's less of a chance for me to be given an opportunity if somebody else has already danced it, and so it's less hassle for them to put that person in, regardless if they're too old or that person isn't very qualified to dance the role. I don't know if that makes any sense. You can ask your questions down below. I will definitely answer them. Asked me, would I ever change teachers? I don't want to change teachers because Jana she was a prima and she is, and working with a woman who is a principal dancer is very important culturally here in Russia. It would be very taboo if I were to work with Vadim all the time. It is not something that's done. And I love Shana. She can give me a lot of things that Vadim can't, but I am enjoying Vadim's coaching immensely. He is giving me so much, and I almost wish that I could have both, but because of the cultural taboos, it is not allowed to have a male coach a woman. And of course I would never do that to Jana. It would be a big scandal in the theater if I were to leave Jana for Vadim, which I would never do anyway, because Jana is like my mother here and I love her to bits and pieces. So I'm just grateful that I have the chance to work with Vadim and Jana right now. Do I imagine sometimes what it would be if I was a ballerina in the USA? All the time. I always daydream, and I know that this isn't right, but for some reason I feel like the dancers in the States have it a lot easier. I daydream sometimes what it would be like to be a principal in Los Angeles, to be able to hang out with my friends and be able to go to the beach and dance, and or just work in a company where people want to be there and aren't acting like they're dragged from the grave. So of course I fantasize about it, and eventually I would hope that I could guest, because I don't think I would actually truly be happy working for an American company, because I am very Russian now in my mentality, but I would like to guest at least for 2 weeks somewhere. It would be really cool, and I look forward to hopefully having that adventure in the future. People were asking me if I was going to leave the Kremlin. I just explained kind of where I'm at and why I feel like I can't leave and why I'm a bit depressed. So how do I prepare my feet for pointe shoes? I tape them with second skin, and I make sure I tape that second skin with the really old kind of Russian Soviet-esque cheap tape that's very sticky. People have asked me if I dream about the Mariinsky. The Mariinsky is like the Paris Opera or the Bolshoi. It's some sort of unattainable dream. Of course, yes, one does daydream and wish they could be a star at the Mariinsky, but the reality, the cold, hard truth of those kind of companies, it's often so cutthroat politically that all the joy that is derived from going on stage and putting together a piece is masked by stress, jealousy, and fear. And I don't think, after my experience with Bolshoi, that's something that I crave. Who knows what the future brings, but once again, I feel like I need to sort of stay in the cocoon that is Kremlin. I know its problems, I know everyone's issues, and I'd rather wait it out and get to dance as much as I can, and lead roles-wise, become as prepared as I can as the Kremlin can give me, and then go and look for another company. But the reality is that Misha is sort of the only qualified partner here, and one extremely qualified guy for around 6 different artists and only 4 shows a month is very slim picking. So I do recognize that I have arrived at a plateau, and I'm very concerned about my future, but I've sort of had everything planned and in my head up until this point, and I don't really know what's next. So I am nervous, but I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm training in the meantime that something will happen and that I'll get an opportunity and that somehow it will all work itself out for the best. All right, guys, these are the answers to my questions. Now, make sure you guys check me out on social media. Check out the Prima Bar to support our Prima community. Thank you guys so much. Leave a comment down below. I love you guys, and I love this community, and I love what goes on in the comment section. So please join in, and let's encourage each other and really make this a place and a destination for those who are interested in dance and those who are just here for a fun experience and just a different kind of internet community. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow for another vlog. Bye!
Good.